Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. A lot of topics to discuss in this video, so let's get going. What do we have? We're going to talk about Russia, Ukraine, and the imbeciles. The imbeciles are the other countries that are more or less in charge of Ukraine and actually try to destroy Russia using the Ukrainian nation. All right. I will talk about the Russians preparing to land in Odessa. I will show you maps. The Ukrainians say no immediate threat. Immediate threat means not in the next 5 minutes or so. So that's the first topic. The second topic. The Ukrainians are urging themselves, if they can, to strike, to attack Moscow. Okay, what do you think will come after that from Moscow with love? Kim Jong Un sends 6,000 more people in Kursk. What are they going to do there? According to the UK intelligence that you can't trust, already 6,000 North Korean troops died in Kursk, they say. Next, Russia posing direct threat to the European Union. Top diplomat, guess who? Infantile Kaja Kallas of Estonia. She's top diplomat. I talked about this infantile over and over, and she tells us a demarcation of where Europe starts and ends. She says that Ukraine is Europe's first line of defense against Russian aggression. So is that the last line of defense for the Russians against the West offense or offensive or aggression? So yeah, that's the first line for you, but that's the last one. That's the Russians. The Russians are against the wall. They can't go back anymore. So that's bad for you, baby doll. Next, I'm going to show you two imbeciles, I mean more than two, three, but I will start with the British ambassador who talks to Russia as they like to talk to everybody else. Somehow they're better and superior and they're in charge of everybody else. Like a principal of a school speaks to a student, to a little fucker, 6th grader. Hey, you need to do this now. You must do this yesterday. And we have the British ambassador and we have the French foreign minister. Again, they are demanding from Russia to former something, Great Britain and France. But they demand, they keep talking. And the caravan is what? Rolling. And then we have Zelensky. And Zelensky's time, thinks that the Europeans should screw themselves by dropping the price per Russian oil barrel to about $30 per barrel. So this guy in another country tells the Europeans, the European Union, he's European as I am Zimbabwean, to drop the cap to $30. And we have the Europeans saying, well, actually, and that's Ursula, the baboon, says, actually, you know what? We tried already and that didn't work. So she admits, confirms failure. They dropped it to what? 50 something? 60? Do you remember? They had from 60 and this baboon wants it at 30. Were discussing, the Europeans, to impose sanctions on Russia and drop the cap from 60 to 45. And the baboon Zelensky wants, no, I think you should screw yourself even more. Drop it to 30. But then Trump comes and says, you know what? If we impose sanctions on Russia, that would cost the United States of America billions of dollars. So we ain't gonna do it. So let's start with the first topic, coming from Ukrinform, the Ukrainians themselves. Remember, start with this. There is no smoke without a little fire somewhere. So read the title. Ukrinform. No immediate threat of Russia's landing attempt on Odessa coast, but defense forces preparing for any scenarios. So what do you think that means? So where is the smoke? The smoke is that, my God, is gonna be a landing. But no, don't worry. No, it's nothing actually, because it's no immediate threat. The fire is there. The threat is there. All right. So where is Odessa? Let me show you Odessa. Odessa. Here. Odessa is at the, it's on the Black Sea. This is the Black Sea. This is the Crimean Peninsula. This is the baboons from Romania. And this is Odessa. So they say no landing prepared by the Russians. No immediate threat. Did you hear? Immediate threat. But that means, immediate means what? A day? 2? A week? I don't think a month. A month is already more than the immediate. The immediate is in days, not even a week. So that means no immediate. Well, the fact that you are talking about tells me that you have some information already. All right, and the Russians will get to Odessa. The Russians will have the West no access to the Black Sea here. They have enough with the baboons in Romania and with the baboons in Bulgaria and Turkey on the bottom. But here, no, the Russians will take probably all this. Next one. Let me show you how the Ukrainians make the case why Ukraine needs, need is a basic need, want is a different story, to attack Moscow. And what targets? Expert. Let's see the anal list. What targets, homie? Ukraine needs to increase strikes on Moscow as the enemy is intensifying strikes on Kiev. Yeah, but this is on and off. I react to your actions, but your actions are a reaction to my actions, and my actions are a reaction to your action, and so on. So, military analyst Denis Popovich said during a Radio New Voice of Ukraine broadcast on June 19, noting that what specific targets. All right, I believe we should work not just around Moscow, they're working, but also within Moscow, and not only to make the Russians relocate their air defense systems there and pay more attention to the defense of Moscow Oblast. So they should be focusing on what? Moscow is a symbol, a place where the decision-making centers of the Russian Federation are concentrated. Moscow is a place where there are many enterprises that may be of interest to these nice drones. Popovich. Okay, what do we have here? Pakaraka, therefore the expert believes strikes on Moscow need to be increased. I understand that they're gonna hit me back. All right, and that's it. So, enterprises. Ukraine has recently intensified strikes on Russia, including on plans. Meow Meow is here. The cat wants me to take him out for a walk. God damn it. All right. So what would that be? I guarantee you that if these guys will successfully not attack, hit the Kremlin, the Ukrainian Rada, and the president's palace will be out. All right. They stayed away from it. Let's see what these guys are lying regarding the North Korean troops. Business Insider. Kim Jong Un, aka the Woodchuck, is sending another that implies that there were already 6,000, if it's another 6,000 people to Kursk after an estimated 6,000 of his troops were killed or wounded there. So this is how these people, I picked this one to show you how these people are making news. First they say allegedly, potentially, maybe, could, might. They start with nothing certain. Likely, most likely, nothing certain. That means you discard that. It could be, but not proven. And then from there, they will use this report by the UK intelligence that 6,000, exactly 6,000 North Korean troops died in Kursk. And remember, the UK intelligence lied to all of us about Saddam's weapons of mass destruction, where millions died. Okay? So, fuck off to start with. So they said they have a reported probably, and then from that estimate, they use it as an certainty to make another point. And the point is another. Kim Jong Un is sending another 6,000 people to Kursk. That means they already accepted that there were 6,000 already on a report that used could, might, and all that. After an estimated 6,000 by what? By the UK intelligence, not trustworthy, of his troops were killed. Okay, so based on possibly a lie, they tell us this one. Could be another lie, but nevertheless, let's move on. Ukrinform, we gets to the infantile. Russia posing direct threats to the European Union. Top diplomat Kallas. You see, when these guys are putting all kind of, how do you call it, titles in front of people, you might think that they are, how do you call that, really at that level. And that reminds me when I was in college in the United States of America, it was a cultural anthropology class. Cultural anthropology, I think it was. And this woman was kind of young. She had a PhD, what the fuck, right? And she was telling us very proudly, she was a white woman, a lover, if you know what I mean. And she was telling us very proudly about the Zulu Empire. And people, baboons around me, they did not know anything about Zulu. They knew they were in Africa, and because she explained a little bit, and showed us some pictures of some proud Zulu, current Zulu, not those Zulu, like they show you now the Indian Americans with the feathers and dressed nicely and with all those moccasins and all that. Do you think that's the way they were? Look at some fucking pictures we took out of them when we found them here. Not when we found them, but in about late 1800, and you find out how they really look like. Anyway, the same with these guys. So she was talking about the Zulu Empire as if she was referring to the Roman Empire. And I said, excuse me, you're not equating the Zulu Empire to the Roman Empire. Because the baboons here did not know. They heard empire and they knew probably more about the Roman Empire from Hollywood. That's all, that information. Okay, so they probably thought about temples, institution, architectures, road, concrete, law, philosophy, taken from the Greeks if you want, the civilization, institutions, the rule of law. These are order. They equated the Zulus. Did they have a written language by any chance? Anyway, so they equated that with this. It's a lie. The same here. She is a top diplomat. Indeed, she is a top diplomat. But this Kallas, this is the person of interest. This Kallas is an infantile. She's got the job that she should not have gotten. You got it? This person right here, who also says that Ukraine's Europe's first line of defense against Russian aggression. Ukraine's, okay, ready? Ukraine's Europe's, right there. But if you look over the map, that would be considered Ukraine being the last line of defense from the Russian. From now on, we're gonna... That's what they're gonna do. And that's exactly what they did. And they call that unprovoked aggression. Why? Because you push the Russians against... I can't fucking go back, especially in this American fucking houses. Anyway, let's move on. Now we got with the guys who continue to talk down on Russia. Why? Why? What is the reason? What gave it away that the Russians are somehow... They knew. I can't use YouTube, What gave it away that you talk to them like that? And I'm going to show you an ambassador, appointed bureaucrat that sucked some thing, and he's got appointed to fulfill other interests, wishes, not the British interests. Right there, Ukrinform. This guy, he looks intellectual like me in my picture. Look at me, okay? Right there. British ambassador, Russia must agree to ceasefire now. Who talks like this? I tell you who talks like this. Talks like this, the US government to you when they want your taxes. A principal of a school speaks like this with a 6th grader, 7th grader, 8th grader, and so on. Your wife sometimes speaks to you like that. No, she... Okay, just kidding. All right? Anyway, so that's another one. Or you have a person who's in charge of you. A parent tells a child, you need to clean your room now. Why? The parent has the authority, legal authority, and he has the authority to enforce that. Negative consequences. I'm in charge of you clearly, legally, and factually. De facto and de jure. Tell me about Great Britain. It's a fucking island with no colonies anymore. That means it's bankrupt. What kind of resources Great Britain has? Don't tell me human resources. They're importing manly guys. They're going to take care of their women, and they're going to create new babies, British, English babies, Scottish babies. Good job. Welsh babies, Irish babies. All right? And you're going to be Great Britain because you're great. And you tell the Russians, motherfuckers. Anyway, let's go to the next one. We got another baboon, Ukraine form. Look at this. Look at this face. I can tell you, this face reminds me of a mental asylum. This guy, if you put this guy, he looks like one of those. Anyway, I know what I'm talking about, believe me. Or don't believe me, just look at some pictures. Barrot's advice to Kremlin. Advice. Start establishing peace with Ukraine. This, again, what gave it away that the Russians somehow are lost in space? And we don't know what to do. Oh, Mr. Barrot and the ambassador tell you what to do. Go, take a right and then a left, go to your room, open the door and blah, blah. Really? As a Russian, don't you feel offended by this? They talk to you like that every day. They have been talking like that. And the Americans too, don't worry. Next one. Let's see what this criminal is doing. Ukraine form. Zelensky urges G7, he should not have been a G7 in the first place, but nevertheless, to slash Russian oil price cap to $30 per barrel. Okay. Russian sanctions would cost US billions. Got it? The US president says he is not in no rush to tighten restrictions despite pressure from allies. Allies, all right. So there has no, because it's self-interest. Look at him. I guess we don't do it. And then we find this guy being von der Leyen. From Russia Today, European Union to abandon new Russian oil price cap plan. Why is that? Brussels had planned to lower the cap on Russian crude from $60 to $45 per barrel in the latest package of sanctions. Right? And we have what? This baboon wanted to 30. But hey, what's going on here? What did she say? Told the truth. Right there. The current limit, and I'm quoting, had little effect. But in the last days, we have seen that the oil price has risen because of Americans with Iran. And the cap in place does serve its function. So it does, but has little effect. So how is that? So the cap in place does serve its function, but the current limit had little effect? What is that? So I will stay with this one because it served its function, but it has little effect. Why do you do it, homie? Well, or an order is an order. And we have something else here. Global prices for crude had dropped below the G7 cap, but surged shortly after Israel began its missile attack against Iran. Last week, Brent crude from August delivery was trading at 76.36 per barrel on Wednesday. What do you mean, Brent crude for August? Okay. While West Texas immediate for July, projection, delivery reached 74.82 per barrel. And this guy wanted it. This article is from 18th of June, 2025. All right, so today, so the guy wanted it 30. Good luck with that. I'm happy to report that these guys do not listen to that imbecile and his interest that are also in charge of these imbeciles. That's it. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.